What compels someone in this day and age to actually keep a diary? And for that matter, record one on their phone and mobile devices? Well, it started because I wanted to make sure that during this process, my kids had something to reference. I mean, a diary is a means of keeping track of what happens in one's busy life. My life is absolutely busy, and I get to document the process, the successes and definitely the failures, because that's where my lessons have been. My lessons have been in how to fail and still move forward. Fail fast, fail forward, and fail frequently, and more importantly, make sure that people know that one failure does not your career make. We also get to celebrate the successes, and that's one of the things that I like documenting. I want to document the wins, some of the ones that are hard fought, the ones that take forever, the ones you hope that happened that took too long, the ones that just didn't happen in the time frame that you had hoped. But these are the reasons we work so hard. At the end of the day, it's $1 to begin to find out, if this is something that fits for you. You get the opportunity to see the inside of what's going on as we continue on our journey to get to the 1,000 units and the million square feet and finish the larger transactions you don't often get to hear about until they're done. You don't often see what goes on behind the scenes and the stress and the mess, and then more importantly, the success that is developed over time through successive mistakes.
The day I met Jay was the day my whole world and thinking changed. Basically, it felt like he took my head off, spun it around, put it back on a whole new way, and I've never stopped or slept since.
Hey, Chris Brisson here, CEO and co-founder of Call Loop, and I'm here in Phoenix, and I just heard Jay give some real estate training. In fact, real estate has been something I've been wanting to do, and I never really pulled the trigger on it. I've been focused on the business and everything else, and I learned actually a lot about how to choose deals, how to choose a property, and these are things that I knew nothing about. And in many respects, I was kind of fearful on how to choose a property, how to value a property, what's a good deal to go after. And Jay kind of really laid it out in acronyms and a very step-by-step process. So he was awesome, full of energy, and he just kept going around. So it was awesome. And thanks, Jay, for everything you shared today in the event. So thanks a lot.
Love his idea that the deal is actually the least important part of that it's figuring out the other three first that matters most. And that's going to influence how I go look at real estate.
My name is Tapan Trivedi. I'm from Sacramento, California. I am a fix and flip investor. I came here to see Jay Massey, because I've heard a lot about him. And I must say, it is a fantastic experience. I highly, highly recommend to anybody that is either starting out or is a prolific investor themselves. Come down, you would not be disappointed. He is amazing. I mean, he has not really left anything to chance. He has answered every question, philosophical, logical, and financial, and that's a very rare combination. So I highly recommend this to anybody.
So yesterday I had the opportunity to be part of Jay's private training and was able to bring up a property that I had interest in. And the first thing that he did was he tried to understand everything that I knew about the property, and from that point, he put me straight to work.
Hi guys and gals, people of all ages. Had a small technical glitch there, but glad you're here anyway. Welcome to another Q&A with Jay. My goal is to help you by answering your questions and making it easier for you to tackle this real estate monster that occasionally can seem like it's this huge, but my goal is to make it simpler, easier, faster for you to, get out there and get it done. Some of you, you probably have joined us before. Others of you, this could be the first time. Welcome. Glad that you're here. Just as a shout out to our president, I want to go ahead and take a sip of coffee. Awesome. And then continuously, I just want to always say to everybody that you just never know where you're going to find opportunity to create something of value. So just keep that on mind because many people find opportunity every day, and I'm sure you're going to be hearing more. Some of you are like, what is the whole thing about coffee? Look it up. You'll understand soon. Anyway, my name is Jay. I'm here to help you. I've been doing real estate for a number of years now. We have a portfolio, hundreds of units across many different states, commercial, residential, cell phone towers, building a resort with some friends. And my goal is to answer your questions. So send them in. If you're watching on YouTube, go over to cashflowdiary.tv, so that I can be there to assist you. As many of you know, especially if you were watching last week, I was out in the field in Tennessee, which was awesome. And I was also speaking to some of you in San Antonio, and I was in various other places. So anyway, I'm here. I'm back in the studio, as you can see. And if you haven't already, please, by all means, go over to the podcast, download cashflowdiarypodcast.com. It's an easy way to get over there and hear some additional information. Again, you're going to be the same the same tomorrow as you are today, except for two things: the books you read and the people you meet. Those of you who are inside of our Cashflow Diary Founders membership, you get to know about the books we read, etc. For those of you who want to understand about the people we meet, you're going to go over to the podcast so that you have the ability to take advantage of that. So we're going to look at some deals. That's kind of what we do here. We're going to see if we can come to some go, no-go decisions. So some of the basic things that we tend to do, you should know that I don't look at these ahead of time. I just find them, so I have no information, no background. So this is just as if I found the deal for real for the first time. So don't think I had all this stuff prepared. No, this is what comes out of my head, and this is the goal you're shooting for. You're shooting for your ability to get to the point to where you can know all the right things to think about and ask so that you can go out there, write some offers, and get some deal done. And again, coffee. So let's look at this. Let's look at this transaction. We've got Earl sends in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, single family. 1,500 square feet, built in 1968, asking price $45,990. Whoa. Okay, $45,950 and $155,000 after repair value. This thing must be in bad shape. Okay, $48,000 of repairs. All right, so that means it needs to, okay, he's starting to do some of the math that we like to do here. So some of you may not be familiar with that. We'll see if I can't show you that in just a second. Home is in an established neighborhood, and it's in bad shape and includes the leftovers of a hoarder. Yes! See, inside of a problem, there is an opportunity. I've dealt with, I dealt with, and by dealt with, I mean I was given the opportunity to work on a hoarder house and quickly passed it on to someone who I knew would be better at it because I just didn't want to deal with the mess. But some people, they specialize in this because, if you trash those out, you probably got something of great value there. So let's look at some of the things that we're going to want to begin to pay attention to here. And let's see. Here we go. Oh, look, it looks like I left a note there. Obama likes coffee, so what? All right, here we go. We're going to look at some of the numbers that we're talking about. So he said $48,000 was the repairs. 48,000. Woo! Repairs. Whoops. And then we're going to have, what was the other number? 45,950. Okay, so let's look at that. So we got 48,000, and then we've got plus 45. Okay, this isn't working the way I need it to. So we're going to use Old Faithful Standby here. We got 48,000 and 45,950. But we will use this for the calculator because it does that part fine. And 45,950. Okay, that's the amount of money you're going to start with the deal. So that's where we're going to start with our math. 48,000, 45,950. It's going to take us to 93,950. All right. As by what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this and multiply by 1.5%. Again, I'm just trying to get to a go, no-go decision. And that's going to knock this thing. It's not going to work. So now I've got to be able to rent this puppy for $14.09 and 25 cents. Earl, if you're watching, you're probably wondering why is the number, or why does it feel like it's different? Because I saw the math that you did. Right here, you did 1.5%, but you only did 1.5%, I'm guessing, of the 45,950. So let's double check that real fast. 45,950 times 1.5%. Yep, that's what I thought. So guys, when you're using the formula for the go, no-go decision, the first thing you want to do is you want to use it this way. Remember, typically if your purchase price, whoops, where do we go? There we go. We want 1.5%. And this doesn't come up too often because most of you guys are buying, retail or distressed. So you want, when I say purchase price, a better way of saying that is actually total investment. I used to call it just TI, but people would get that confused. Total investment. So it's not tenant improvement. It's 1.5% of total investment. And that total investment includes, the big piece is usually the purchase price. But in this type of deal, what we have is we have repair costs, we've got transaction costs, and you should have a reserve amount. And then probably you want to make some money up front, and we'll call that a promote fee. So all of this needs to be included and multiplied by the 1.5%. And that's what I was doing right there. So if that's the case and your deal works, we can get to the point to where this makes sense. So Rentometer is saying it's 950. That's great, but 950 is not the same number we came up with, because we came up with, I believe it was 1409 and 25 cents, and that's a problem. So this is a no-go. If you're going to hold it. Now, if your intent is to flip this property, that's a completely different story. So we're going to be looking at these two numbers mainly, the 45,950 and the 4,800. We're going to start comparing things like days on market to figure out what the turn is. How long does it take for all of the inventory in that particular zip code or neighborhood or subdivision to turn, so that you have the ability to figure out, hey, can I get this repaired in enough time during this season of the year in order to earn and make some profit. So if you're going to flip it, probably. Hold it, probably not. Live in it, sure. All of those things could work. So there you go. So Eddie's got apartments in Memphis. Next 3 slides. I found some out-of-state deals, 2 that require rehab, and 1 that's 100% occupied. How should I go about building my team that has a vision similar to mine, like a property manager rehab account that will help me hold these long-term? Got it. Let's look at the first one. Beacon Manor. Beacon Manor. Why does this sound familiar? Because I know it's in my playground, but I'm like, did I just go walk? I'm going to remember the address, because I was just there last week, and I may have looked at this very one. How many units? Anyone see the number of units? 72. Interesting. 72. Okay, I think I know where this one is. Here's the deal. Is this the 100% occupied one? Let's find out. He's only got one piece of paper. I don't know what occupancy is, so we're just going to run the numbers again. We're going to do the same thing that we were just doing before. So in this particular case, we have 28 one-bedrooms, 32 two-bedrooms, 12 three-bedrooms. That's going to be the unit mix. So now we're going to do that same thing. So previously we were looking at a single-family house. Now we're going to look at this multifamily complex. And I'm going to tell you why right now that this is also a no-go for me, even though we haven't ran numbers. It's a no-go right here. There's too many one-bedrooms relative, cancel. There's too many one-bedrooms relative to the number of total units, and that's called a risk in my opinion, because individuals in that particular jurisdiction of town aren't conducive to the type of individual that wants to stay long-term, especially when it's one-bedrooms. So if I was doing, say, maybe if you're going to turn this into veteran housing, that could work. If you're going to turn this into assisted living, that could work. Senior housing, that could work. Or students, those individuals can stay longer term in a one-bedroom. Most people who are in a one-bedroom are looking to no longer need a one-bedroom, get married, have kids, and move somewhere else. That's not something, that kind of turnover is not something that I want to experience. The other person who's willing to take a one-bedroom is because they can only afford a one-bedroom, but they may have more than one child and still have the family and all that other stuff in there. So this is a non-starter for me for that reason alone. Now, when you look at the price and the down payment, oh, they're asking for $1 million cash for a 72-unit building. This better be 100% occupied. Yeah, there's no way. All of these numbers are just indicative to me of risk that I don't want to take, especially on one bedroom. So that's just a no-go for that reason because of unit mix. Ha, 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 ha. I didn't know this was still on the market. This is funny. Okay, you guys, this one is, I'm smiling because I actually had this exact one under contract. And if you want, I can tell you why I don't anymore. And so in everything about this building, its makeup, the 3 bedrooms, the 1 bedrooms. Notice, and now look at the previous example. The previous example had 28 1 bedrooms for 72 units. So if we just do some quick math, let's see. I need to reorder some of these slides, don't I? Let's do that, put it right there. So if we do 28 divided by 72, that's nearly 40%. That's nearly 40% of the unit mix was 1 bedrooms. That's too much of a risk in my opinion. I don't like that. Whereas here we have 8 of the 62, 8 divided by 62, that's 13%. I can live with that. That's something I can work with that. I'm okay with that. That I can work with because it's only 8 units, all right? Now, the other thing about these is especially these 12 units right here, those townhomes were kind of cool. I really liked them. I remember them quite well because that was like the really big attractor because there's 3 bedrooms and I don't have any 3 bedrooms in my portfolio at this moment whatsoever. So I liked this property a lot. So much so that I mean, we had it under contract. We were raising capital. We were moving forward until during our due diligence. And guys, you don't understand. We do some deep due diligence over here, okay? And sometimes you may not think to do the things that we do, but we've learned to do certain things simply because we just don't want to experience some things. Some things we're okay with. I'm okay with, you know, hey, a guy got shot last year. All right, no problem. We know how to deal with that. We know how to deal with a lot of crazy stuff because it involves people. I mean, somebody's got to be on the news. Might as well be our tenants, right? Anyway, what I'm saying to you is this particular property was even outside of our risk profile. What we did is we called over to, I think it was 911. We wanted to get a record of how many emergency calls were made to that address. I think it was over the year, and there were too many. There was just, I was flabbergasted at the number of emergency calls that were made to that address. Now, do we have a system in place that knows how to clean it up? Yes. It just wasn't the highest and best use of the time that we have right now, where there was just even lower, there was still a mess, there's still a problem, but it was an easier problem we could choose to solve, and that's what we just chose to do instead. So maybe in the future we'll come back around to this exact address. I remember it well, but at this particular time wasn't something that we were going to pursue. Now, for you, if you don't have a killer team, if you didn't even think, if the idea in your head didn't even go, you know what, I should call 911 and get a record of how many calls were made to that address, if that's something that didn't even occur to you, do not even think about going down and buying this particular property. Now, if you want to know how to find all of those quote unquote ninja secret due diligence things that you're like, I would have never thought of that, Jay, go over to learninvestingnow.com. What I've done is that I put our due diligence checklist. I mean, and it's long. It's a lot of stuff that helps us manage the risk and understand what it is that we're getting into. See, to look at this property, when you do the inspection, it's going to look great. It actually shows off well. It's across the street from a high school. It's near a busy street. So it's in the bus route. It's got all of the stuff that looks right until you get down to the 911 emergency stuff. And if you don't have a relationship with the right police department in that particular area, you're going to have an issue. Now, here's my point. You want to know the other due diligence items that you don't know? Go to learninvestingnow.com, download the due diligence checklist, because I promise you it will help you to avoid these types of issues and finding out, because you would rather find out now. And I'm okay with finding out during due diligence. It's after it's closed. That's when I go, crud, now I'm stuck with it. See, when you find out during the due diligence process, totally fine. Okay. Let's look at this one and then we'll check to see what's inside the... God, I love this. I cannot believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. See, you guys don't even understand why this is funny to me. That one's mine. I'm selling that one. Oh, God. Sorry. Okay, so, Eddie, if you want to buy that one, just call me, man. Call me. All right. I can tell you everything that you need to do in order to get that. That's just that you can even use my team on this one to be able to make this transference happen. That is hilarious right there. I don't even know what to say right there. I have nothing more to say. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 2-story. You know, I know this one well. Anyway, that's hilarious. Well, clearly you guys are out there in the marketplace looking for stuff, and now you're chasing my tail, buying. Okay, this is pretty funny. Anyway, there you go. I'm just gonna move on. Let's look at that has never happened. That was like, I'm like, is that the, okay, well, there you go. Let's see, Hiya. Jay, what percentage of total investment do you put aside as the reserve? Do you have a percentage overage that you usually have when factoring the cost of repairs? The second one is easier. I'm going to go for 10%. It always works out to be more, especially with the type of rehabs that we do. And then as far as percentage of total investment, do I put aside it as a reserve? That's really hard, because that's going to be relative to, do I need to do a roof? Do I got to do plumbing? How much electrical work do I really have to do? It's also going to be relative to things like, do I have to kick people out first? Or how many units are there? Is it 50 units or is it 100 units? I mean, all of those things change. It's really hard to say. Start with around $600 a unit and go up from there. Do not go down, go up from there and see if that can begin to fit your budget. But that's probably the best that I can help you with. That I'm still tracking. That is so funny. That was mine. Gosh. Okay. See, Matthew, Jays, please work the go, no go formulas one more time. I'm still getting caught up on the second formula. Okay. Got it. So, Let's go. I'm going to go to the, sorry. I'm just cracking up. Let's use this property randomly and tell you why it's a go, okay? Because I know this one. So here's the thing. So let me see. We've got 340. Yeah, no, I'm copying the numbers first. I will. It's 340. I know the unit mix. We're going to call it $500 a month to make it simple. All right. So, there we go, 340, 500 unit mix. So here's the first check. Remember, we've got 34 units. So you're going to take that by 34, or take the 340. Now, in my opinion, you're going to have 340 plus probably, let's just double it and call it 680. You're going to have about 680 into this before it's 100% ready to go. And that's my low end estimate, right? So if you're at 680, the first thing we're going to do is multiply by 1.5%. I'm going to tell you why you still want to buy this deal at that price. Or sorry, yeah, $680,000. That's right, not $680. I knew I'm writing down numbers wrong now. 680 times 1.5% is 10.2. So that's going to give you around 10,000. That's it. That means you need to generate $10,200 per month of income in order to make this work. Well, for those of you who are quick at math, you probably already did the math to figure out this is 500 a unit times 34, because this happens to be near the University of Memphis. It's not, I don't think you're going to get University of Memphis students, but it's near enough to the University of Memphis that you might get University of Memphis students for sure. And you're definitely going to get students who have a car and a job. Because it's all 2 bedrooms. It's in a great neighborhood. It reminds me of the neighborhood that my grandma lives in, to be honest with you. That was one of the reasons I was attracted to it, because it feels like, it just feels, I mean, it's one of the few neighborhoods in that area of town where you see people just walking around. And that's, by the way, that's another ninja secret. Okay, so you had one earlier in the show when I was talking about the 911s, right? The second ninja secret for today will easily be, if you're going in a neighborhood and you see people out and about and walking during the day or night, that means it's relatively safe. They live there. They know that. If they're not walking, that's also called a clue, all right? So in this particular case, $17,000 a month is probably your gross. You can see well and above that this is such a super go, it's not funny. I priced it that way. Does that make sense? So that way I want the person to get a good deal. I've done this before where I've had people buy stuff from me so that they could get a great deal, and this is no different. Let's see. So we've got 17,000 as, where's my blue? What's that? No, I'm not actually trying to create a bidding war. That's the number, pay me the number, move on. I'm happy. I just think it's hilarious that they're looking for deals and then they find mine. I told you guys, I just think that's hilarious to me. So we've got 17,000. So now we're going to take that same number, 17,000. I'm going to show you the second check, Matthew, okay? The second check is as follows. So we see that it passes the first one. You're going to take that 17,000, multiply that by 12, and that's going to be annualized income. So 17 times 12 is $204,000. Okay, you're going to take that $204,000, and you're just going to say half of that, which in this case is $102,000, is going to go straight to expenses, which leaves $102,000, right? And then you're going to take half that number. You're going to take half that number, and that's $51,000, which leaves you $51,000. So another way to interpret this is, if I can buy this building and half my money goes to expenses, if I can operate this building for $102,000 a year, which is a ton of money on something this small, meaning property taxes, insurance, all these other things, and mind you, we've already done a lot of the property tax work that you would need to do on this, because that's just what we do. Because it could be part of a special program where you could have your property taxes locked in. So there are lots of intangible benefits that we've already created in terms of value that are here that you wouldn't have to do because we do those ninja secret things. Anyway, so that's here. So you have $102,000 of net operating income, which leaves you $51,000 of capital to be able to pay an investor or investors in order to be able to, raise the capital. So let's say you're only going to do this in quadrant 3, right? You're only going to do this in quadrant 3. I'm going to just show you the math really fast. If you're only going to do this in quadrant 3, and I just said you had $51,000 left for the year, that means you have $4,250 that you could pay on a monthly basis. So we're going to put that under the payment. We're going to say you're going to do a 30-year fixed loan. Okay, and again, I'm just making up 30 years. It could be less, it could be longer. It's up to you, however you want to structure your deal. And let's just say you want to pay them 7%. What this is telling you right now, if you wanted to pay 7%, it says you could find or raise $638,000 right now, $638,000, pay that person 7%. You would make $51,000 a year. They would make $51,000 a year. And so long as you continue to operate the building at $102,000, you'd be able to create a significant number of jobs, as well as end up with an asset valued a little over $1 million, because the cap rate in that area is around 10%. And if you have $102,000 NOI, you're going to have $1 million asset, which means you would even build another $320,000 of equity at $680,000. So I hopefully that cleared it up. If it didn't, the good news is you can hit rewind and watch it as many times as it takes for you to get how all that works together. All right. Is there a question in the chat room? Have you ever purchased HOA liens? No, I haven't, Jackson. I try to stay away from, let me just say in liens in general, I don't like liens because I want the deed, period. I want control over the property. I don't want control over the debt on the property. I want the property. That's just me, okay? You could be okay with that. Like an older person with maybe who doesn't have a team and you don't want to do all the work and the fix up and you hear the stuff we go through. If you don't want to go through that, liens could work out for you. If you don't care about knowing when you're going to get paid back, liens could work out for you. I don't like any of that. That's just outside of my comfort zone, so I don't deal with it. Anyway, what's that? Susan, awesome. Cap rates. This is so awesome. You guys, yeah, here's what we've done. All right, it's not there yet, but let me show you what you want to do. Here's what you want to do right now. You want to go over to youtube.com/cashflow diary. Did I spell that right? We'll find out in a second. When you go over there, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm telling you to do this because, Susan, you're asking a question, cap rate. Like, what is cap rate? I literally, was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago, shot 14 videos of some of the most commonly asked questions. We'll be adding to that over time, but guess which one of those questions it was? It was cap rate. So instead of answering that same question, because we only have a short period of time here together live, I want to make sure that you get your answer, but I don't have to take up live time getting you that answer. We're going to be here, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel when you get here. I have no idea where the subscription button is. I'm logged in. Oh, is that the problem? So I'd have to log out. Okay. So if I log out, he's telling me that, okay, now it just says YouTube. Cash, I don't like that. We got to make that easier. Okay. So now, okay, right over here, you hit the, hey, we're over 300. When did that happen? That's cool. Subscription. Hit the subscribe button right there. That will help you so that when we get when we finish processing and editing all the stuff, you'll be able to know. And many of you have asked about, Belize a lot. If you want to get the video, it's right there. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back. Rebecca has a question. And coffee one more time. Rebecca wants to learn how to analyze a deal. I want to get the details of how to how to a wholesale deal, how to wholesale a deal, I guess, how a wholesale deal goes from start to finish. I want to learn how to become a professional saleswoman. Oh, Rebecca, I want to learn how to be a problem solver and how to use wholesaling to help people. Well, first, Rebecca, I'm assuming you already have our wholesaling course because you said wholesale 3 or 4 times. I don't know which course you have, but I know you're a current customer. If you're not, the first thing you're going to want to do is become, because inside of our wholesaling, now if you don't know what wholesaling is, it's just how do you find deals at a discount? Like, you know right now, if you wanted a deal on shoes, you know what paper to go look in, what stores to go talk to, etc. You know how to negotiate a deal on cars, or maybe some of you don't. But if you did need a deal on a car, you know who to talk to help you get that deal. You want the hookup, right? You want to become the person that knows how to give someone the hookup when it comes to real estate, and that's what wholesaling is about. We developed a 60-minute webinar. If you want, instead of going through all of those questions right now, just go to cashflowdiary.com/workshop. Cashflowdiary.com/workshop, and you can watch the webinar, Rebecca, at no cost. How to become a professional saleswoman? That's the question that totally intrigues me, because you hit the key. There's so many amateur salespeople, unfortunately, out there that make it difficult for the professionals to actually do their job. For those who were a part of our VIP day, we did how to double your sales. How to double your leads, triple your sales in a quarter of the time while eliminating your marketing budget. And I went through my entire sales map and process that gives you the ability to go out there and become a professional salesperson. So maybe we'll make that available in the not too distant future. But if that's something that you think you might be interested in and you want to know, hey, Jay, did you ever make that sales course available? Send an email over to info@cashflowdiary.com. Tim, I assume this is Tim Mills. I found a house on Craigslist where the person listed as the seller is not the seller and is not an agent, but is representing the seller. Do you know if this is legal? Okay. Well, my first question is what country is it in? If it's in the U.S., to my knowledge, that's not legal. And my next question is this probate? Because this could be an interesting situation in terms of probate with a power of attorney situation. But for most cases, that's not usually the right way to go. But confronting the person and saying, hey, I know you're not the seller or the one on title isn't going to get you the deal. The way to work this is deal with the person that's being put up front and then handle it, get it under contract. And when you get down to title, let title be the bad guy and tell, hey, you're not dealing with the seller. Oh, okay, cool. And you can go from there. So that's kind of how I would begin to approach that one. What's this? Okay, YouTube got it. Thank you. How to win friends and influence people. Read that to start, maybe, to become a great salesperson. That's just to become a great person, Susan. However, yeah, it helps. Sales is influence. And when you begin to reframe and define sales in the proper way, you can become better at it. And again, it's not something that a lot of people study, but I tend to study it. So, do you know if the seller on the Hilltop property is open to... Oh, God. Eddie, you are hilarious. I do know the seller, though, quite well, and that is hilarious. I love the way you ask the right questions at the right time. I'm just going to move on. Curtis, welcome. Curtis, oh, this is Curtis. You're a newer student. Glad that you're here. Glad you're already asking questions. When it comes to the next step, how do you structure a deal in a way where you're only giving away amortization and depreciation, or depreciation? What does that look like? Got it. So Curtis is referring to the profit analysis quadrant. And as a quick review / update for some, I don't have a copy of my book. I say we've got quadrant 1, we have quadrant 2, 3, and then we have quadrant 4. Quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of course, they were right there in plain sight. This is a concept that I cover inside my book, Cash Flow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth to Any Economy. And it's about the areas of profit inside of a deal. I was working with a client earlier today They were like, Jay, this house is upside down. Is there a way for us to still buy it? Does it make sense? And I just showed them how they could, very similar to what you're asking, Curtis, use depreciation, amortization, and cash flow, these three, and be able to still profit from that deal. So we have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Curtis, what you're asking about is quadrants 2 and quadrants 3. So if you're saying, is there a way using quadrants 2 and quadrants 3, what does that look like? Well, it doesn't really look like much other than the language of saying to the investor, telling them what the benefits that they get. Now, with quadrant 2, this is the only quadrant where there's a real caveat. You cannot solely give away quadrant 2 in and of itself by it on its own. It has to have one of the other benefits tied to it. So they have to have something else, some sort of other economic benefit that they're getting. Otherwise, this could be construed as just trying to avoid taxes, and that's called not good. So you want to make sure that if you're working in a quadrant 2 situation, that you're giving away something else inside the deal. Quadrant 3, the main thing that you're giving here is interest income and the amortization. So you're playing with the idea of how much interest do they get to earn. So this quadrant 3, by the way, is the one quadrant that banks play in. This is what they do. And you have to ask yourself, do banks earn any money? And is that good money or bad money? I don't know. Whatever. But is it a lot of money? Absolutely. And if they can earn all of that in one quadrant, what do you think happens to you when you understand how to use 1, 2, 3, and 4? And that's kind of the idea here. So lots of retirement plans go here. Lots of older individuals who need a predictable stream of income go here. Individuals with tax issues tend to go here. And it becomes down to a conversation. Hey, would you like to pay less in taxes? Yes. Okay, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to allocate the lion's share of the tax benefits over to you. That's how that sounds. And then when you say that to a competent, keyword, attorney and tax professional, they go, okay, I know how to deal with that. That's their job. Your job isn't to understand how do I write up the LLC and the operating agreement that makes this work. That's their job. Your job is to understand that it works and to offer it to individuals who would like to take advantage of it. I don't need to understand how electricity, how that camera I'm looking in right there works in order to use the benefits or receive the benefits. Many of you can't tell me how the internet works, but yet right now without it, we would not be able to interact and have the benefit of helping each other in the way that we're helping each other. And that's what I want you to get comfortable with. You don't need to know how it works. You need to understand the benefits of it and let someone have access to those benefits and work with a competent team that knows how to give those benefits to individuals and structure those deals for you. Okay, hopefully that helps. Let's see, where are we now? Is that a question? Yeah, what time is it? Oh boy, we got a lot of questions. Let me, I don't even know how to say that. How do you say that? Anybody? Gani you? I'm going to go for that. Cool. What to look for in an auction sale apart from current revenue, current operating expenses, tax liability? How much more to fix? Can you sell the building to a not-for-profit after you use a for-profit to buy? Okay. I'm going to tell you, okay, so the answer to your first question, you said what did to look for at an auction sale. Whether it's an auction or not, you're still trying to do some due diligence. You're going to go over to Learn Investing Now to get access to our due diligence checklist. That's going to give you everything that I look for on every transaction, regardless of how we sourced it. Can you sell the building to a nonprofit after you use a for-profit to buy? And I know one of my first questions is are you the owner of both of those entities? However, I don't specialize in any nonprofit information. You're probably going to need to talk to a specialized attorney who knows how to do that. I'm sorry, I don't. I've just not done that one. That's a new one. Next, Eugene. I'm an investor from Japan. That's right, they have real estate there. I would like to know how to invest in non-recall, little money down properties. I don't know what non-recall. Never heard that one before. I very much enjoy your podcast. Thanks and have a great day. Awesome, Eugene. Thanks for enjoying the podcast. I think you mean non-recourse, little money down properties. That's what I think you mean. If I'm wrong on that, send me an email. Let me know. Info@cashflowdiary.com. However, how to invest in little or no money down properties is that's what we talk about inside of our how to find deals wholesaling course, is how to find these types of deals so that you can structure them for little to no money down. All right, Maggie, I'm brand new to real estate investing. I have very little knowledge on this subject. I want to know if this is still a good time to enter the market as an investor. I feel the deals were during the 2008 to 2012 time period, and the prices have risen so high, especially in Southern California. Please let me know if there's still hope in my dream. Oh, wow. Maggie, that's, still hope in your dream. Okay. See, I got something in common with the president. We both like coffee. All right. So here's what I'm going to say to you, Maggie. And I hope everybody's watching. Let's call this market situation A. When we're looking at market situation A, and we're going to call this axis time, and this one is going to be measured in dollars. We've got time, dollars. If we have this situation right here, which is typically once you own an asset, you want market A situation. This is what happens. You want this. You want to buy it and just have it go up and up and up and up all the time. And you're the one who bought way over here, and you're over here now, and you're looking back and going, yeah, I did such a great thing. I did such a great thing. I did such a great thing. That's kind of what you want to have happen. Market situation B, woohoo. Again, time, which is more like reality, is it goes up, and then maybe it goes down, then goes up, and then maybe it goes really down, and then maybe it goes up, and then maybe it goes down, and maybe then it peters down at the bottom for a little while. It might even fall off the cliff. Okay? Here's the point. If all it did was go up, the person who starts here has a harder time getting in. You and I, we need the marketplace to break. We need these breaks. Without these breaks, we don't have an opportunity to get in. So one of the things, Maggie, that you've got to understand is this happens in many different forms of real estate. You may only be looking at right now single-family houses. And if you're only looking at single-family houses, it may look like this. But while you're looking at single-family houses, guess what? Commercial buildings could be doing this. And if all you're doing is looking at commercial buildings, and commercial buildings in your area are doing this, then maybe you start looking at industrial buildings and they're doing this. And maybe while industrial buildings are doing this, you could start looking at theme parks. You're like, oh my God, theme parks? Yeah, that's a real estate deal too. You know, Disney ain't free. But the point is, there are many different ways to skin this cat, and this is always happening. So the opportunity, in one little zip code may be, quote unquote, gone, but it's only gone for the moment because this is going to happen again. So you can either wait, if you are absolutely adamant that it has to be that zip code, then you wait till it breaks, but you need to learn what breaking signals look like. You don't know what they are instinctively. You've got to learn to recognize them. And then once you've learned to recognize them, you know when to strike. Or you can do what other people do is they choose to build a team or leverage someone who has a team in a marketplace that has the ability to go out there and make these things happen for them without having to wait for it to break. So you can either become the person that builds the team and makes that happen or use other resources like money or credit to leverage someone who has the team that can make that happen for you. So Maggie, yes, there's still hope. OB1 is more than your only hope. So what do we have here? Uriel? Is that how you say that? I think so. I have a real estate license here in California. I'm sorry. I feel like it complicates things. You're right. Next question. Eric, I think my biggest challenge is, like you said in your book, changing the way I view things, uncertainty, doubt, and literally taking action. Yes, that's why I said in the book. Then why? Then when I get to a certain point, knowing what to do next. The most important challenge that I'm experiencing is getting started. Well, the simplest thing that I can tell you that's not going to be gentle or necessarily fun possibly for you to hear is that you're just afraid. Action kills fear, and you're on what I call the negative success cycle. So you need to stop and just choose to stop. Go write an offer. That'll cure a lot of your ills. Jaime or Jamie, either one. Building capital, meaning I've heard Jay state many times that acquiring capital is a matter of offering investors something they consider valuable. It's not always money. That's correct. I'm lacking the knowledge of the various things to offer. Okay, then the basic way to get started to get all of that, because I don't have enough time to go through that, that's what we talk about here inside the book. So, or what you have available is, we were here on YouTube, right? You can go to YouTube, and if you type in raising private capital, look who's at the, oh, those are ads. Okay, so we're at the top still. And you have the ability to watch 90 minutes of information of how to put that together for yourself, and you can sit there, you can watch it, hopefully you can learn. Oh, cool, there's me on TV. So you have all of that here for you available if that's something that you actually want to take advantage of. It's very, very easy for you to get started there. Joseph, I just started listening to your great podcast. Wow, I got the word great. That's awesome. 2 weeks ago. I'm on CFD 50. Are you telling me you actually just like started with number 1 and you just, dude, you got to be tired of hearing me. But maybe not. I'm on 50. My most important challenge is starting with no money. No, your most important challenge, Joseph, is starting with the wrong perspective. You're focused on what you don't have, and what you don't have is never going to get you what you want. Focus on what you do have. You do have time, you do have knowledge. You've already listened to 49 hours of information, and it's time to take the next step. Maybe the next step for you is actually writing the offer, learning how to source those deals, and making that happen. Go over to cashflowdiary.com/workshop, and don't let fear creep in there, because it's going to do that. And the more time you wait between the decision, I'm going to do that, to actually doing it, only thing that happens, you get afraid, turn around, and run home. Cynthia, hey, that's my mom's name. Understanding all the details in the quadrant to better service private investors. Yes. Yeah, Cynthia, go over here to the YouTube. Go YouTube, type in Raising Private Capital. You'll be able to watch that. We talk about the quadrant. I show you an example. In fact, there's a person who's been able to use this quadrant to raise millions of dollars now, just in this year alone, which is awesome, in my opinion. And I think that would help you to begin to understand that process as well. Let's see what we got here. Fear of the unknown. That's everybody. No startup capital at the moment, or ATM. I need a startup capital ATM. I want a startup capital ATM too. What's the PIN code? I'm in for that all day long. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing, Francis. Just go right over here, YouTube, Raising Private Capital. Let's see what we've got. We have a few minutes left, so if you are watching live, we're going to call this bonus time. Make sure you start typing in your questions, because I'm going to start looking over there and see what we've got. All right, Tim. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, asking $68,000. Math says to move forward, but there might be a tax lien on the house. So I'm checking that out. The owner does not speak English and has hired an investment company to sell the house for her. Well, that's a problem. The pain is the owner has had bad renters and does not want to deal with that again. Okay. The seller is not a real estate agent and does not have the house under contract to buy, but to sell. Yeah, I don't know how that exactly could work. Oh, this is probably a follow-up to that same question. So just because there's a tax lien, that doesn't mean you should be writing an offer on this. Write the offer, because that's what's going to force the hand of the person who's representing the buyer and get this down to the legal issues. So if $67,900 is a great price, within the next 20 minutes of you hearing these words, you should be on the phone giving them a verbal, yeah, I want it, and starting the paperwork process and making that happen. So don't wait, make it happen. Is there another question? Jay, on smaller properties, what are your thoughts on paying management company a renewal bonus per lease at the end of the year? Do you make this higher or lower than the lease-up commission? I would make it lower than the lease-up commission, but I like the idea of doing that. I don't know if smaller properties can typically, well, it also depends. When you say smaller, I don't know if you mean smaller in terms of dollar amounts for the rent per unit, or smaller as in less than 30 units, like a 10-unit building. And even then, if you have a 10-unit building where each unit rents for $2,000, it might work. So I don't know. But I like the idea of rewarding someone for the thing that you actually want, which is renewal, because it's cheaper to keep a customer than to find a new one. So yeah, there could definitely be something there. Instead of paying a bonus though, what I would experiment with is increasing the percentage that they earn. So maybe, they start and I'm making up numbers, guys. This is not a rule. That doesn't mean you start here. I'm just saying if you started your relationship at 7% and you let them know that they could have a way to get up to 0.5% more per renewal. So they did 7% the first year, 7.5% the second, then 8, then 8.5, then 9, then 9.5, and then maybe it caps at 10. And therefore you have the ability to work it that way. That's something I would begin to look at. What is that? Still hope in her dream. Wow, that hits you in the gut, doesn't it? Yes, there's always hope. Got it. How do you want them to send that information in? Got it. So while I'm thinking about it, guys, there's some new things that are coming in development, and I'm going to ask for your help because I think we get lots of questions in this regard. I want you to type in the chat room. We're going to do our best to copy and paste and capture it all really, really fast, okay? But I want you to type in the chat room what you feel you want to know about multifamily and or apartment building investing, okay? That probably gives you a hint at something that's coming in the future, but I want to know what you want to know about it. I know what I know about it. I know what I think you want to know, but I don't know unless I ask you. So I'm asking you, okay? So tell me what it is, and we'll see what we can do about making and figuring out how we can provide that and make it happen. All right, let's keep going. Just an FYI, my Cash Flow 101 game arrived today. Where might I find a smaller 8.5/11 version of the game board like you had when you hosted the game? Oh, got it. Also, when you're coming back to Sacramento. I'm coming back to Sacramento. I think it's October, middle of October 16th, 17th, something like that. It's over 1 weekend in October is when I'll be back in Sacramento. Capitol Heights Club or City Heights, I forgot the name of it. And then as far as the 8.5/11 version, Susan, here's what I would do if I were you. I'm going to go to Google because Google knows everything. And I'm going to type Cash Flow board game photo. And I'm guessing that as I go under images, you're going to pick, I don't know, how about that one? And print it on 8.5/11, and there you go. Or that one. I mean, you've got many choices of depending on which one you're looking at. Or this one, that could work. And that's all I'm going to do. So you just go over there. You should be able to print that, make that happen. Jefferson, no questions. Thanks for coming to San Antonio. Hey, Jefferson, that's right. That was cool. I got to meet. It's always fun when I do go some places and I meet some of you guys. That was cool. I'll be hosting my first cash flow game. Excellent. Any suggestions? Yes, do it more frequently. Now, speaking of cash flow games, Jefferson, make sure you have 2 dates scheduled. That's going to be the first thing. For those of you in the Orange County area, I will be doing a cash flow game, this weekend. So you have the ability to participate in that if you'd like. For those of you who are already a part or will soon become a part of our Raising Private Capital program, you're going to get video instruction from me on how to do your own cash flow games. That's going to be just added automatically to the course, so you don't have to pay for that extra for those of you who are already there. Maybe that's why you want to do it. And you'll actually have video of me doing it, and you'll be able to understand how it all works so that you can duplicate the same thing. Let's see, where else? What else we got? Is that it? Okay, got it. Oh, I see what's going on. So you're responding. Excellent. Good job on answering the question. Tell me, keep going, guys. I mean, what is it that's stopping you from, think about it this way. What would, if you knew this, you would be able to go do more multifamily deals. Tell me what it is that you need to know so that I can hopefully provide that for you. And again, just as a reminder, you may want to go over to learninvestingnow.com to get some of the due diligence, because that due diligence is based upon single family, multifamily, and some commercial. You'll be able to get a lot of information that it is that you probably aren't asking for yet, but that you should be asking for, and you don't even know it. Okay. When will I be in the DC area? Wendy Butler. I will be in the DC area, I guess, as soon as someone is willing to pay for me to come to the DC area as an audience that they want me to come speak to. I have nothing scheduled on the East Coast, mostly because no one has contacted us from the East Coast. So anyway, so you guys keep filling in those questions. What's 4 more minutes? Excellent. So if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know as well. We're doing our best here, guys, to provide the things of value that you guys need, which is why I'm asking you the question right now. Hey, tell me what you think you need to know to become a better multifamily investor, or maybe you've never become one. I don't know. Help us understand what that looks like in your world, because I know to some degree I've forgotten. Yeah, what's the question? Got it. And if you are now watching and you're watching the recording, send an email over to info@cashflowdiary.com. That'll help us service your needs, because I know it's amazing to me how many people, how many guys are out there watching. First of all, I applaud all of you for being dedicated to making it happen, and I'm here to help, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to get this thing done. And for those of you that watch either overseas or long distance, or you have to watch the recording because you can't make it live, I still want to service your needs. Send an email to info@cashflowdiary.com. Put multifamily help in the subject line so it doesn't get lost amongst all the other emails that we do get. Okay. What happened? Oh, are we good? Okay, good. So keep typing, those questions in there. We keep doing our best, like I said, to provide, the information that you guys say that you want as much as we possibly can. Again, if this is your first time here, or maybe you just haven't yet, go over to cashflowdiarypodcast.com and go ahead and start subscribing to the podcast. We've got a number of guests. Maybe you're like, I like cash flow. I've listened to you, Jay, but God, I do not want to do real estate. How else can I create cash flow? Well, that's one way to use the podcast, is because there are other ways of creating cash flow outside of real estate. And I interview those individuals and ask them how they do it. We've got some really unique things coming up from some of the interviews that we've done recently. And I'm just like, wow, would have never guessed that one. But some of the themes are always the same. So just go over to, again, the cashflowdiarypodcast.com and let me know. All right. Do we have any more questions in the chat room, or is this all multifamily stuff at this moment? Yay. Well, that means they want to know the stuff. Okay, good. Property management software. God. Sorry, you just hit a sore spot. Do you know how long and how many we've been through? That's crazy. Yes? Learn Investing Now. What was that investing due diligence website again? It is learninvestingnow.com. I'll go over there and show you what it looks like, so that when you get there, you'll be able to, it looks very simple, right? So that way you can go and get the due diligence checklist. It's learninvestingnow.com. learninvestingnow.com. So let me see. 1 minute. Awesome. Okay, guys, you got 1 minute for one more question. Wow, there's a lot. What is Marvin saying? Go back. An honest answer would be just about everything. How to find them, how to evaluate them, what type of people need to be on the team. Yeah, Marvin, I feel you. I feel you. I'm just looking how to make money on from cell tower leases. Yes, I like that one. I like some of these questions you guys are asking, because see, these are not things I would have not even thought to say any of these things. Yeah, I already answered. I'm not coming to the DC area. Wendy, I guess as soon as you send me an invitation. Okay, looks like we've got all the questions there. If you keep coming up with questions, we're going to leave the chat room open. Okay, so don't think, I didn't get my chance. No, type it, but you can still go ahead and remember, send info@cashflowdiary.com. Send it in. Remember, multifamily. Got to put that really big in the top, otherwise it's going to get lost, promise. All right, and we'll do our best to see what we can do with all the information you guys are providing us, to see what we can help you with. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to get back to getting stuff done. And thanks for taking the time to watch. I look forward to talking to all of you guys again soon. Until next time.